This is the House of Parliament where men and women have sat for decades, making decisions that would affect all our lives. Do they really work in the interests of the people or themselves? They sit at the round tables, trying to decipher which way to turn. Is it left or is it right? Have the people benefited from those decisions? Our people have suffered for far too long. Change should not be a figment of the imagination, but reality. Every boy, every girl, every man, every woman are equally important. The market vendor joyfully sells her produce. The fish vendor skillfully uses his cutlass to cut the fish. Keep on working. Let your smile be your motivation. Build a community of brotherly and sisterly love. Don't give up on your dreams. Surround yourself with positive thinkers. Think big and keep on moving. Keep pushing the envelope. Yes, push that envelope until you have succeeded. You may have made many mistakes, but that is no reason to stop. Don't you dare give up. Get ready for that overflow. Get ready for that breakthrough. The overflow is coming. Showers of blessings. Stay cool. Stay calm. Stay collective. Ride the rough waves of life. Hold on to that rope tightly. Just keep working. Keep moving. Keep believing. Self-motivation. Stay cool. Stay calm. Stay collective. Well, hello. If you are viewing across the globe, welcome. Welcome to the people of St. Lucia. Welcome to all of you to my show, Lies and Deceit. I am your host, Soraya Alexander, and I bid you a good evening, a good afternoon, a good morning. It is always a pleasure sitting here talking to you. And I must say that some of you have recently joined in viewing my show. Thank you so much, from Guyana, from Pakistan, from India, from Nigeria, Trinidad, and all over. I really thank you for joining me. So we have to be one. It's one world. It's a big world, but we are all one. We may have varying cultures, but we are all one. And I want to say thank you for joining me tonight. It's going to be a very interesting discussion because I know not only in St. Lucia, but all across the globe, we are dealing with high prices in terms of going to the supermarket to get groceries, building supplies, fuel products. Everything has escalated, but we need to have a serious conversation, especially we here in the Caribbean, especially in St. Lucia. We need to have that conversation that our government refuses to have. We need to be able to survive. It's not like 2019. Things have just escalated. Prices have escalated. Cost of living is above and beyond what we can sustain. So allow me to say welcome to all of you on YouTube. Love you guys, and all my fans on Facebook, love you guys, and thanks for joining. And remember, we support, and may I say thank you for all the coffees. In spite of all the talk, the noises, many people stayed with the show. That is in terms of financing, helping the show to grow. So to all my members and to all my supporters on Buy Me a Coffee, I really appreciate you, because you know why I appreciate you? You are here for truth, and you're not here for me to sing the narrative of the United Workers' Party or the St. Lucia Labour Party. I'm here to speak the narrative of the people. And as many of you who follow me would realize that I have been attacked mercilessly. But I am here and I ain't going nowhere. So I will show you the coffee video where you get a chance to go and support the show. This is your cue to click on the link below. I think it's at the bottom or at the top, the Buy Me a Coffee link. Go there and purchase your coffees or become a member. And also, I have started doing some podcasts. I need to record some more. I've been a little busy, but I need to record some more and, rave reviews about my podcast. And people, believe in yourself. Let no one, and I mean no one, dim your shine. Be your own shine. Because if in life you have to say, oh my God, this person doesn't support me, this person don't love me, you will never progress in life. Why do you think so many people are saying to me, so you need to go up for a seat, you need to run election, you need to be the Prime Minister of St. Lucia. Until God say this to me, this is where I have to be. So go ahead, the coffee video will play, and go ahead and buy the coffees for the show. Be back.
Hello everyone. Today we'll be learning how to show your support for Soraya Alexander through memberships and coffees. Okay, so first up guys, you need to keep this link in mind, buymeacoffee.com/Soraya Alexander. So let's go on and head on to the site. So of course you are greeted with Miss Alexander Buy Me a Coffee page. You'll scroll down to the bottom where you'll see support or membership. So of course the support option is to purchase your coffee. So we don't want to purchase 1, 3 or 5, we want to purchase a custom amount. So we'll put it right here and select 10. So of course for you guys who like to be anonymous, the name and say something nice option is optional to you. So if you would like to do that, you can, or do as you please. But in this case, I'm going to be entering a name. And I'm going to be saying something nice. I'm going to say, love your show. Keep it coming. All right. And also we know some of you have messages that you don't intend for everyone to see. So you can simply select the option, make this message private. So we're going to go ahead and press the support button. On the support page, you are greeted with the email and card number. So of course you go ahead, we're going to put johndoe@hotmail.com. And in this case, we're going to be using a dummy card number, but in your case, you will enter your real valid card number. So of course you put your month, your year, and the CVC of your card. And of course you will select the I'm not a robot option for verification. So this is simply how you go ahead and purchase your coffee. Simple. So now guys, we're going to go ahead and get a membership. So as you could see, we have different levels of membership. So you can choose what you like, whichever one you prefer. You go ahead and select that. So you just press the join button and then you're greeted whether you want to take that membership per month or per year. So we're going to go ahead and start filling in our details. We're going to put our email, johndoe@hotmail.com. And in this case, your name is required. So, and your email. So we're going to go ahead and put a name. We're going to put John Doe. And we are going to see something nice. We're going to see love your show. Now, like before, as we saw guys, you have the option to make this message private. So you could just go right here, tick, and that message is private. So of course you press the join and then you go ahead and you enter your card and so on and so on. And of course you verify that you are not a robot. Now on this page, you also have the option, because I know some of you guys may want to take more than the allotted membership. So you can simply use the free option, predefined options for you, and add it 5, 10, 15, whatever, as you wish. Okay, so guys, this is actually the full tutorial. This is how you go ahead and purchase your coffee. This is how you go ahead and purchase your membership. So I want to say thank you guys. Thanks for watching. Hope this video was as informative as it could be. This was Akeem Ernest. See ya.
And this video was produced by my masterful producer, none other than Akeem Ernest, my son. He's only 17 years. And this production you're seeing here, nobody taught it to him. Intellectual, bright boy. He's into information technology, as I've said to you, and he's studying to get his Bachelor of Science in Information Technology. Very good kid, very wonderful person. So you are enjoying all this at the hands of a 17-year-old young man. Round of applause for Akeem. Job well done. Now, my people, it's going to get hot in here. I wrote on my page last night, I think I put it last night, about the fuel prices escalating. Thank God the gasoline for your vehicle remained at $17, which in my mind is still very expensive. Today I took a listen at the speech our Prime Minister gave in Suriname. They held the 43rd CARICOM conference of member countries. And I heard my Prime Minister spoke, our Prime Minister spoke. I listened to the whole speech, but I was taken aback with something he said. Our Prime Minister started speaking about the cost of living, that it's very expensive. And he said at a cabinet meeting, he spoke to his cabinet members about the price of bread. Mr. Prime Minister, you cannot be serious. Sir, you cannot be serious for you to be speaking about bread. I, for one, have to stay away from bread. Mr. Prime Minister, I have been speaking to you for a long time. This is my 11th month, because this month is going to be a year, the 26th that you took office. So, Mr. Prime Minister, when I heard you spoke about bread, you spoke to your cabinet of ministers, I said to myself, Mr. Philip JPI is not for so-so. He is not for so-so. You're talking about bread, the price of bread too expensive, and you all want to do something about it. Sir, I and many St. Lucians, we do not really care about the bread. Excuse me. What you need to do for us is to reduce the taxes. And when you do that, as I have taught and as I have said on many of my lives, when you drop the tariffs, right, and the duties and the taxes, the VAT, the VAT, it is going to give me and other St. Lucians a breathing barrier where we can just rest a little while and say, oh, I can save some money this month. At least give us that for 3 months. But sir, you said in a cabinet meeting that you spoke about bread. Yes, I am not supposed to eat the white bread, but at least I can buy the expensive bread. At least if you drop it, I can buy the expensive whole wheat bread, special brand, which is what I'm supposed to eat. So I am wondering, Mr. Philip JPI, Prime Minister of St. Lucia, I am wondering if you are really thinking about us. Now, dear sir, I put on my page last night the fuel, the gas prices for the tanks, the cylinders. And I was like, when I was growing up with my mom used to get like 2 tanks of gas for $40 or even less. Right now, sir, what you have to realize, you have not given the people of St. Lucia any income support. Now, I may not need an income support, but other sections of society may need it. As I've always said to you, what I need from you is to give us a break from those taxes for at least 3 months, because you have been there for over, it's going to be a year this month. So you have actually made a lot of money. So we are going to look at the gas prices as of today, Monday, 4th July 2022 in St. Lucia. I know all over the world prices have increased, and I see people keep saying that, coming and making those comments, which I know. But my argument stems from the fact that our government refused to give us a tax break. Mr. Philip J. Pierre, if you continue in this vein, eventually you'll have nobody to tax, you'll have no money to get, because we all broke. We all ain't got money again. Because many people are indeed suffering. And a 20-pound cylinder, 9.07 kg, increased from $43.78 to $45.27 per cylinder. A few dollars and cents short from $50. Mr. Prime Minister, do you and your cabinet and your consultants and your advisors have a hat? Surely you have the stats before you. You have the data before you, and you should know, because I remember when you just came in, you said the economists and all of y'all have to look at the cost benefit analysis, the opportunity cost, what y'all can take out, what y'all can put. So it's a year, and up to now, eyeballing, sir, because when I go to the supermarket, I want to cry. I cannot shop. I cannot live in St. Lucia because the prices are so high. What are you doing to help us? Nothing. And then a 22-pound cylinder. Luckily, I bought my gas on Saturday before. I have 2 tanks. I bought one. My other one was still filled, so the other one was empty, so I bought it. And I was lucky to pay the $43.78, because maybe if I had to go and pay $50, that's $3 bread I cannot buy. I have to add to the bread I'm supposed to eat. It is rough on us, Philip J. Pierre. I do not know what to say to you again. I have talked for almost a year, 11 months. I really do not know what to say to you. And anybody with the 22-pound cylinder, you have to pay $49.79 now, which is almost $50, a few cents from $50. It was $48.18, and now it's $48.16, and now it's $49.79. And those people with the 100-pound cylinder, which my mom had also in those days, and where she used to get that from M&C for next to nothing. Right now, we can't afford that. So the 100-pound cylinder was $349.64, but right now it is $364.48 per cylinder. Mr. Prime Minister, I need you to wake up. Mr. Prime Minister, I need you to wake up. We are suffering. And the reason why I am saying this to you is because it seems we have no one talking for us. I have been talking for a very long time. I have been challenging this government for a very long time, and I'm going to continue doing it. And I placed something also on my wall saying, where is the opposition, the United Workers' Party opposition? Where are they? They are in hibernation, just like the Prime Minister of St. Lucia, not realizing that the people are hurting. We need to have somebody to speak on behalf of the people of St. Lucia. So when people are saying the increase in food prices, the increase in fuel prices only affect the SLPs or the labor rights, are you all joking? The rain falls on the just and the unjust. Food prices and all the other things related to price increase affects all of us, whether you support the United Workers' Party and whether you support the St. Lucia Labour Party or you support nobody. So I am a bit amazed when I see people say on my wall, leave them, let them suffer, let the Labour suffer, they voted for them. The people put who they wanted in power. There is an opposition. The task of the opposition is to ensure that this government is kept in check. But as far as I can see, they're not speaking. They're in hibernation with the St. Lucia Labour Party. So to say that it is only the St. Lucia Labour Party supporters that are suffering is gravely wrong. It's egregious. Because I am suffering and all other people are suffering. I did not vote for the St. Lucia Labour Party, but that is the government in power and we have to hold them accountable. As I've always said, people don't understand politics. You cannot say let them suffer. We all are suffering. We all are suffering. There are UWP suffering. There are SLP suffering. There are people suffering. So to make a statement like the opposition don't need to say anything is egregious. And I believe I am in the 1% who thinks differently because, as I said, I don't care who you are, if you're prime minister, not prime minister, opposition, I will hold you to task. And I will come here to speak the truth because my show is about truth. And many people cannot handle a show like this because everybody just want me to beat up Pierre, not to beat up the opposition. No, I beaten up both of them because at the end of the day, they all form the government of St. Lucia. Because it is not the 15 men alone that form the government. The other two form the government of St. Lucia. So we have to hold them to task. So this kind of rhetoric is what has our country in turmoil like this. Now the conversation, so as I was saying, they had their 43rd Caribbean Community Conference of Member States, but is CARICOM really working for the people of the Caribbean? Well, in my instance in St. Lucia, I will have to say no, and I cannot believe for 43 years or how many years CARICOM has been there, and there has not been a push. And not even in my own country, there has not been a push to legislate minimum wage. This is the conversation that needs to be had. Because both administration, whether it's the United Workers' Party or the St. Lucia Labour Party, they never had an urgency to regulate the minimum wage. People are bawling. When you're telling me people are working for $3 an hour, $4 an hour, why do we put people in office if they really cannot look at the needs of the people of St. Lucia? Why do we have those people in office? These are the things, these are the conversation people need to have. And I refuse. This is how I think. I refuse to be placed in a box because of any political party, any government. I will speak my truth and I will speak it freely. So minimum wage. Now I am going to show you the audacity of both the United Workers' Party and the St. Lucia Labour Party when it comes to minimum wage. I am going to show you a video, and this video will shock you to the core. Okay, I am going to show you a video and this is going to shock you. And it amazes me. It amazes me that we in St. Lucia just accept anything. So I am going to ask my producer to put on the screen bare minimum St. Lucia to see establishment of minimum wage. Take a listen.
The Employers Federation Executive Director made it clear.
To be honest, there is no minimum wage.
Joseph Alexander sat as Deputy Chair of the Minimum Wage Commission and disclosed that there is a report sitting there since 2009. But what's the holdup?
You may have to find out from both administrations why the reluctance in instituting a minimum wage in St. Lucia.
And so we did. Well, the sitting Labour Minister, at least.
It's a burden issue, and I must indicate to you that this year, among the many targets established by the Department of Labour is the need for the establishment of the Minimum Wage Commission, following the conclusion of government's negotiations. So now that government has concluded negotiations, we are now looking at setting up the commission to allow the commission to look at the issue of a minimum wage in St. Lucia. But
Mr. Alexander did say there was already a commission.
yes, I'm coming to that. I'm coming to it. But the problem has been over the years, as far back as I can recall, when I was in government in 1995 thereabout, there was a committee which was established, which looked at certain categories of workers who more or less propose a sort of minimum wage.
That category, King says, includes domestic and clerical workers. And there were a number of subsequent committees established to address this.
The latest was in 2009-2010, a report of which was presented to the Cabinet as early as April 2011, the final report, with recommendations.
But the fundamental question is, 10 years later, why have those recommendations not become policy?
The report did not go clinically into what truly exists in our society. You cannot establish a minimum wage across the board, because across the board means that you apply a minimum wage, say it would mean that a clerk in an office, in a government office, would have to then be considered under that minimum wage structure. A domestic who probably works 3 days a week would have to be considered under that structure, and probably a laborer who works 6 days a week would have to be considered under that structure.
Therefore, according to the Labour Minister, there is a need to determine a minimum wage on a sectoral basis.
Also, to break it down to working hours in terms of what is the minimum pay per hour, what is the minimum wage per hour, what is the minimum wage per week, what is the minimum wage per month, and then classify it into sectors so that individuals now can then be satisfied with the minimum wage. So, for example, the minimum wage probably for a domestic helper or domestic servant may be one thing, but the minimum wage for another sector may be something more. And that is where we now need to strike that equilibrium so that all is satisfied.
Okay, the difficulty in not enacting the recommendations from 10 years ago have been identified. But the question still remains. When will a minimum wage be established on St. Lucia?
This year, when the Minimum Wage Commission is launched, its mandate will be to explore the possibility of dealing with the issue in sectors so that there is what I call some justice given so that all can feel comfortable about it.
Okay.
But it's unfortunate that it has taken that long to be resolved.
Okay, so we can agree that you do agree that the minimum wage needs to be established.
It needs to
at
be
the
established.
soonest. Now, with the formation of this commission, how soon or what can you provide timeline as to when you expect, not to when they will finish, but when you expect it to be completed and for government to actually make a decision and act and say, okay, we are establishing minimum wage?
We are hoping that within the next 2 to 3 months we can establish a commission, because it would have to ensure that we improve the terms of reference of the commission, the composition of the commission, and also to give that commission sufficient time to be able to do its work. So once we can get it going within the next 3 months, then we'll give the commission some timeline by which they will submit their report.
So there's your answer. Yet another minimum wage commission to be established within 3 months. As to when the wage itself will become a reality remains in the realm of unsurety. For now, Miguel Favre, NBC Prime.
Now, this video I showed you with Honorable Stevenson King was done in 2019 under the United Workers' Party administration. Fast track 3 years later, there is nothing, there is no minimum wage, there is nothing for the people of St. Lucia. So it tells you, government in, government out, the critical things they need to address, they don't address it. Right? He said 3 months they would have a minimum wage commission. Fast track 3 years now, there is no minimum wage commission. These are the issues that needs to be discussed. And this is why my show is different, so that it could open up your mind. I bring the receipts, and then for you to open your minds to understand that politics is a game to these politicians. This report was done in 2019. We are now in July 2022, 3 years later. So I really, sometimes when I said that we have a serious low IQ problem in St. Lucia, everybody was saying so-called St. Lucians low IQ. But my people, look at what you did. Instead of looking at the issues, you all looked at my show, you all looked at my coffees. It tells me that people want to drive the narrative of foolishness instead of you all realizing what I'm saying to you is truth, and demand from those politicians, irrespective of which party, to do right by the people of St. Lucia. So in St. Lucia, the following does not exist. There is no minimum wage. And when there is no minimum wage, poverty is going to increase. What do you think is going to happen? There is no minimum wage. It does not exist. A national health insurance scheme does not exist, because in other countries, when they do have a minimum wage, there are very levels of minimum wage, and certain people, based on their minimum wage, they would be able to get medical or health insurance. This is the conversation you'll need to have. My show is there to open your mind. We're not supposed to hold any politician, whether it's prime minister, MP, attorney general, whoever. We're not supposed, deputy prime minister, we're not supposed to make those people feel like gods, because at the end of the day, they work for you. They work for me. So no minimum wage for St. Lucian. So let me tell you what I gathered from Stephenson King interview. A report from the Minimum Wage Commission has been collecting dust for 13 years, since 2009. Right? Stephenson King, Kenny, Alan Chasney, it has been picking up dust, and then y'all want to come and tell me that I'm just supposed to speak one form of narrative? All those administration did not care for you. There was a report from the Minimum Wage Commission and has been collecting dust for 13 years, since 2009 to 2022. Now, I looked at Deacon Mitchell, right, who just came into office as Prime Minister, and he is tackling some pension issues. I think there was with the previous administration. He is tackling this for his first 100 days. You mean to tell me, if our government really and truly cared about people, that report, they would have picked it up, get a commission, let us see what we can do for the people of St. Lucia, because everything has skyrocketed. Inflation has gone mad. Inflation has gone mad. These are the things you need to discuss, and not coffee. So, as I've said, hold up was with both administration, UWP and SLP. King said it is a burning issue since 2019. King, your party was in power 2016. You were there 2019. Election call, now you with another party. It's not a burning issue again. The hypocrisy of our people, and the reason why politicians get away with murder is as a result of the people. You cannot protect politicians. Politicians do not care about you. Politicians are all for themselves. No minimum wage for 13 years. And then he went on to say, King said there is need for the establishment of a minimum wage commission. Lord, the audacity of the mouth. Right now, he is saying there is a need. Fast track 13 years. Well, in his time, 2019, when he came in, 3 years. What do we have? People are suffering. People are working for peanuts. This is ridiculous. He is saying there is a need for the establishment of a minimum wage commission. Nobody is talking about a key issue. But people are ready to kill other people for speaking the truth. I will always speak truth. I will not break under no pressure. Never. Then, King said a committee was established since 1995 to examine certain categories of workers. In 1995, Sir John was there. 1997, Kenny won. SLP won. They came in. Nobody. I need to ask the question. Why you love politicians so much and you only love yourself? I love me. So I give in UWP leaks, SLP leaks, because I love me and I love the people of my country. Because when you don't hold politicians accountable, do you know who hurt? The people. The people are the ones hurting. The little people at the bottom of the ladder. You could be in the middle, you can be at the top. We all hurt. People love politicians. Oh, that's my politician. Wow, I love him. Like, seriously? You love him? So, obviously, when you are doing a minimum, so you mean to tell me from 1995 to now, so where are all the technocrats, all the big shots, all the brains, all the this, all the PhDs, all the MBA, the MSc? They couldn't do a minimum wage. I believe this is not happening because governments in, governments out do not want to establish a minimum wage. And then people, my interpretation of all this is blah, 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 blah. Waste of taxpayers' money doing nothing. So all those commission boards they had, all those consultants they had before, simply means that they wasted our taxpayers' money. Blah, blah, blah. Nothing of substance came out of it. By now, if something was done since 1995, by now we should have a minimum wage, and every time it would have increased due to inflation. You do your board, you sit with your board, and you organize it. This is what I'm here for. I am not here to just come and put a wool over your eyes. I bring the facts, I bring the tapes to open up your minds and your eyes. Remember to buy the coffees, because the coffees is what keeping the show. And thank you for all the coffees. Those who have bought and those who are still buying, buy the coffees. This is what keep the show. There is no show in St. Lucia that bring you the facts and show you receipts and evidence like that. When you are doing something good, why you think, let me tell you all something. Any and everybody you can think of have attacked me and my show. Have attacked me so much. But I always say, when you have not given me what I'm doing here, you can't touch it. It's covered under the blood of Jesus. So I bid you right now to go ahead and buy the coffee. The video is going to play and I'll be right back with you shortly.
Hello everyone. Today we'll be learning how to show your support for Sarai Alexander through memberships and coffees. Okay, so first up guys, you need to keep this link in mind, buymeacoffee.com/Sarai Alexander. So let's go on and head on to the site. So of course you are greeted with Miss Alexander Buy Me a Coffee page. You'll scroll down to the bottom where you'll see support or membership. So of course the support option is to purchase your coffee. So we don't want to purchase 1, 3 or 5. We want to purchase a custom amount. So we'll put it right here and select 10. So of course for you guys who like to be anonymous, the name and say something nice option is optional to you. So if you would like to do that, you can, or do as you please. But in this case, I'm going to be entering a name. And I'm going to be saying something nice. I'm going to say, love your show. Keep it coming. All right. And also, we know some of you have messages that you don't intend for everyone to see. So you can simply select the option, make this message private. So we're going to go ahead and press the support button. On the support page, you are greeted with the email and card number. So of course you go ahead, we're going to put johndoe@hotmail.com. And in this case, we're going to be using a dummy card number, but in your case, you will enter your real valid card number. So of course you put your month, your year, and the CVC of your card. And of course you will select the I'm not a robot option for verification. So this is simply how you go ahead and purchase your coffee. Simple. So now guys, we're going to go ahead and get a membership. So as you could see, we have different levels of membership. So you can choose what you like, whichever one you prefer. You go ahead and select that. So you just press the join button and then you're greeted whether you want to take that membership per month or per year. So we're gonna go ahead and start filling in our details. We're gonna put our email, johndoe@hotmail.com, and in this case your name is required. So and your email, so we're gonna go ahead and put a name. We're gonna put John Doe, and we are gonna see something nice. We're gonna see love your show. Now, like before, as we saw guys, you have the option to make this message private. So you could just go right here, tick, and that message is private. So of course you press the join, and then you go ahead and you enter your card, and so on and so on. And of course you verify that you are not a robot. Now on this page you also have the option, because I know some of you guys may want to take more than the allotted membership, so you can simply use the free option, predefined options for you, and add it 5, 10, 15, whatever as you wish. Okay, so guys, this is actually the full tutorial. This is how you go ahead and purchase your coffee. This is how you go ahead and purchase your membership. So I want to say thank you guys. Thanks for watching. Hope this video was as informative as it could be. This was Akeem Ernest. See ya.
And thanks again for all the purchases, the last show, this show, for your continued support, And one thing I have realized, I study my page a lot. I study people, what they do. One thing I have realized is that people's loyalty is to their country, is to their party and not country. Because of me saying what I said about Stephen King the last time, a lot of people left the show and it was a whole bacchanal on Facebook. They do not even react, they don't even interact. But what I've realized, a lot of young people are interacting from different countries right here in St. Lucia, and my base has a lot of young people. So we need the adults to show the young people it is okay to differ. But people want you to only sing one form of narrative. And I've seen many of them who used to react to my posts, they stop because their affinity or their loyalty is to party and not country. My affinity is to country, and that doesn't mean, as I've always said, because I'm giving the St. Lucia Labour Party licks, that I hate them, or I'm giving the United Workers' Party licks, I hate them. I'm here to do a job, and I'm here to do it well. And I would like you to sit back. I hope you have purchased all the coffees. You sit back, you relax. I want you to sit back and relax, get a cup of tea, coffee, what you need to get, and watch this video in terms of why there isn't a global minimum wage. Enjoy.
If you're a minimum wage worker in an industry like hospitality or retail, you could be earning $5,000 to $2,433 per month, depending on where you live.
A minimum wage system is very complex. It depends from country to country, sector to sector, political landscape, you name it. But at the same time, a lot of people argue that increasing minimum wage could actually lift millions of people out of poverty.
But some people argue that an increase in the minimum wage might lead to a loss in jobs.
That's debatable.
The minimum wage is the lowest amount of compensation an employer can legally pay its workers. That said, an estimated 266 million wage earners globally, 15% of the working population, are paid below minimum wage. This is either because they are not legally covered or because of non-compliance.
And of the 187 member states in the International Labour Organization, 10% don't have a minimum wage. So why is that?
The effectiveness of a minimum wage has been debated since the concept was first introduced and has come even more into the forefront as income inequality within nations rises. To help me illustrate some points, I've enlisted the help of London correspondent Sylvia Amaro, who covers European politics and markets.
Sylvia, I have a question for you. When you think about minimum wage, what comes to mind?
An ideal to avoid a race to the bottom when it comes to wages. And I use the word ideal, Nessa, because essentially there are too many elements that can decide the standards of livings of people.
What first came to my mind is this one single magic number that applies to all employees in a country that increases their standard of living. But it's not really a silver bullet, is it?
No, it's not. Essentially, there's not a universal number. But in essence, when you look at a minimum wage, it needs to be enough to then cover income taxes, social contributions, and other levies. And when you look at these contributions, they also change from country to country.
Some countries may have as much as 50 or more different minimum wage rates, and these rates can be determined by factors like sector, occupation, age, or geographical region.
That also adds another layer of complexity when you try to compare the different systems across the world.
For example, as many as 14 countries in Africa have two rates, one for the agricultural sector and the other for everything else. In Europe, workers in the textile and leather industry have a lower rate. And for big countries such as the US and China, this disparity may apply across regions too, because of the different costs of living, economic development, and the labor market situation. In Shanghai, which is China's financial hub, its minimum wage is the highest in the country.
What is the purpose of minimum wage?
In very broad terms, the idea is to ensure fairness. We're talking about an idea that is meant to protect workers, but ultimately it's about ensuring equality in our societies.
But how are minimum wages determined? If it's too high, it gets hard to enforce. If it's too low, that protection net is gone.
There's not a concrete formula to say how much money a person should earn in order to live in a decent way. So this is a policy that is often debated around elections. But then at the same time, of course, in more practical terms, the minimum wage can also change because of inflation. Since 2010, countries with minimum wages have adjusted them every 3 years on average. So it takes a while to adjust to higher consumer prices. Essentially, you needed a benchmark to compare the systems across the world. The one that we're using in this case is the purchasing power parity exchange rates. All of these rates are converted into the US dollars and then compared.
Globally, the median minimum wage level for 2019 is $486 per month. Luxembourg has one of the highest at $2,433 per month, while Australia and Canada are also near the top of the list. At the bottom, we have countries like Mexico, Bangladesh, and Uganda.
It's important to also note that minimum wage is not an isolated concept, right? It works in tandem with other social and other employment policies.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you look at the labor market, one of the issues that we see is the gender pay gap. So in other words, the idea that men tend to earn more than women, even if they are doing the same role. The idea with the minimum wage can also help narrowing that gap between men and women.
There are some groups of workers in particular industries or occupations, for example, agriculture or even domestic work, they are excluded from a minimum wage.
According to the ILO, 22.4 million domestic workers worldwide are not covered by any minimum wage provisions. And it's not just limited to specific industries. In Oman, only nationals are covered by a minimum wage law. Foreign workers are notably excluded.
This brings us to the other side of the debate. There are a number of countries without statutory minimum wage systems.
So for instance, in the Nordic European countries, they have a collective bargaining system. So in other words, it's up to the usually trade unions or the workers to negotiate with the employers what are the minimum wages for certain types of jobs. So it's not a government mandate and it's not universal across the countries.
Other countries have also bucked the trend, including the United Arab Emirates and Singapore. Singapore has what it calls a progressive wage model for certain sectors, which it claims incentivizes workers to upgrade their skills and take on more responsibility. And you might be surprised to learn countries like Germany, Malaysia, and Qatar barely adopted minimum wage systems in the last decade. But for the majority, most of the debate is centered around whether to increase the current rate or not.
Let's imagine that there is indeed a government mandate to increase minimum wage. Then smaller companies might decide, well, you know what? I don't want to pay more, so I'm going to hire workers in part-time going forward. And part-time will mean that these low-skilled jobs will essentially have less security for the workers, and they will potentially be earning less as well.
Part of it is economics 101, right? If you increase the minimum wage, that it might follow that you have to lay off some workers, and this might create a spillover effect.
It's also important to look at the actual increases. And some people argue that when you increase minimum wage, it's not just because consumer prices are higher potentially, but because those workers deserve to be paid more.
A 1993 study by the late economist Alan Kruger and his colleague David Card found that employment levels in the US state of New Jersey actually grew slightly after a minimum wage hike the year before. It compared employment growth in New Jersey with Pennsylvania, which didn't increase the minimum wage. The report, which challenged the conventional view then that higher minimum wages led to lower employment, won Card the Nobel Prize in Economics in 2021.
You can read different people, different economists, and they will show you different points of view. Some will keep arguing that indeed increasing minimum wages can increase inflation because people will have more money available and therefore they are more likely to spend it, and that tends to increase inflation.
One thing's for sure, no two countries will have the exact same minimum wage systems. Many incorporate different features that can't be categorized so easily. In fact, countries are continuously adjusting their minimum wages according to the changes in their economies.
In a post-pandemic future, there might be more labor market shifts. A 2021 report estimates that more than 4.3 million jobs may disappear over the next decade, displaced by automation.
And a lot of these jobs in industries that they have highlighted, they are either minimum wage or low wage jobs.
So I think this will remain a topic of discussion for the future, for sure. Essentially, a minimum wage isn't a means to an end. Some people do argue that going forward, minimum wages will become obsolete because of automation. And if you think about a concrete example already in our modern lives, is when you go to the supermarket, you now have the option to self-checkout. But because inequality is such a global problem, perhaps minimum wages as a policy deserve our utmost attention.
Sylvia, have you ever worked, a minimum wage or a low wage job?
I have. My first job was the minimum rate in the UK.
The only reason why I asked is because I've worked in a minimum wage job too. I think I worked in some retail job and I wasn't very good at it.
So I would like to encourage the Minister of Labour, who is Stephenson King. I hope somebody asks you or tell you about this video, because I cannot believe government in, government out, and they do nothing about the minimum wage. When you read the comments all over Facebook, the people are asking for the minimum wage. And this is why I am here to speak to you, to agitate for you so that people, those politicians, leaders, governments would listen and do something about the minimum wage. This is what has to be discussed. Now today, shift gears a little, it was the swearing in of the opposition leader for Grenada, Dr. Keith Mitchell. I listened to this gentleman's speech, and other people under the live was commenting, and I have never seen such rage. The man was in a frenzy. I think this man believes he's still the Prime Minister of Grenada. The way the man was behaving, when you get a chance, go to Grenada Broadcasting Network and take a look at his swearing in. I have never seen somebody so deflated, the agony of defeat. This man can't contain himself and the way he was speaking. But when the ceremony started, there was a young lady, and bravo to this beautiful young lady. She came to speak, and I need all those that tell me, oh, the opposition, they need to speak, let them suffer. Really? That's why I say I'm 1% of everybody, because I look at things differently. The opposition leader, the opposition, the United Workers' Party, you need to listen to this young lady, and you need to get up and take a listen.
Her Excellency Dame Cecile Lagrenade, Governor General of Grenada, Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell, political leader of the New National Party and elected representative for the constituency of St. George Northwest, other elected constituency representatives, specially invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning and welcome to the swearing-in ceremony of the opposition leader of the Parliament of Grenada. Every few years, the citizens of the state of Grenada engage in an exercise that is the hallmark of all great and legitimate democracies. They set their hands to the pages of history to determine the architects of their nation's future. Today, we are here as a result of this exercise, which saw the changing of the guard with the election of a new team to govern this country. We congratulate the new Mitchell-led government and pray for wisdom and discernment as its members undertake the assignment of their lives. However, it is an assignment that cannot be executed in isolation from the voices of the minority, who still have a stake in their country's future and a vested interest in seeing their government succeed. We are here today to endow the representatives of these voices with the power to advocate not only their constituents' behalf, but on behalf of all citizens. It is indeed the interest of all citizens to reign in unbridled power and to ensure that good governance is achieved through the application of checks and balances. This is the role of the people's elected opposition. It is as important a role as the elected cabinet and is salient for the preservation of our democracy. As we witness their matriculation today, we wish for the members of the opposition renewed vigor, conviction, and insightfulness as they embark on this important role and continue to work towards the advancement of our beloved country. Thank you and welcome.
And with this video, I bid you good night. Keep that bell on, and I'll see you again. Bye.
We expose lies and deceit. Expect us